Hey guys, it's Ben from Second Dynasty here. With me, as always, I have Zorma in the background. Say hello, Zorma.
Hello, how you doing?
So,
I'm gonna introduce you, Albert. Wait. We have John from John Games here as well. Say hello, John.
My new name is Toilet Play.
Okay, I see it's gonna be one of those sessions today. Oh, hang on. Yeah. Okay, all the audio is coming through, right, guys? I hope so.
Yes.
Yes, awesome. I'm notorious for having bad technical difficulties. I see the chat's going off, which is nice to see before we even start. And yes, Albin, I am going to introduce you. We have, of course, Albin, my co-worker, and we're going to be checking in with his work later. Hopefully you guys can hear both of us all right. The microphone is behind me today, so I might be slightly quieter than normal, but hopefully, actually we can adjust that slightly there. It should help a little bit, maybe. And if I turn, you will hear me even more. But I don't want to look at myself like that. Okay, I'm rambling. I'm Ben from Second Dynasty. We make 3D printable spaceships. And today we are working on the Type S, which is an officially licensed traveler ship. We have some exciting updates on that today. And we're also going to check in with Albin about his progress on the Beowulf. We have kind of a go or no go situation where we're going to spend a couple of months developing it and figure out exactly what we can get done in time for the summer, which will determine exactly what we release and when. But that's exciting. And actually, before we get too deep into things, because I know that John has to go fairly soon, usually on Fridays, right?
Yes.
So why don't you give us an update on Deck Designer?
Thank you very much, Ben Ben. The main Mowbray. Thank you. As always, I'm slow at working on the program status. It always takes me longer than I think, but I'm really excited to have an update out for you today. It's going to have the parts of the new brush tool where you can take even custom parts without setting up before. Like I explained before to know the new. The old way is you would bring a part in and you have to set up all its snap points, and you could place it by snap points or by its neutral base.
Right.
The new brush tool, you can load an STL, and you can then say, I want this to be the bottom. You click on a face, it becomes the bottom. Okay. And then you could say, I want to place this on the grid, or I want to snap it now by this vertex on it. So you can pick the down direction and you can pick the snapping point, all before it's actually placed.
Hey, John, Zormer, I'm going to interrupt here on you and say, remind you that there's some people here that have no idea what you're talking about because they're brand new to the channel.
Oh, that's right. People exist.
What is Deck Designer, John?
Deck Designer is a 3D assistant tool to help you plan out your builds before you print them. Woo-hoo. It does not create new parts. It does not spit out combinations or anything. It doesn't help you do layout. Well, in the sense of for printing, but it does help you see your ship, see what it looks like, what parts you will need to get it together, and if all the parts fit before you start printing without having to know how to use a 3D modeling program. It's easier.
It is indeed. And, you know, this
is
going to
and it will work. Hold on. Don't forget to add it will work with other STLs later, but not yet. It only works with ship 5.
It works with all. It works with all STLs.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can use any STL now and start snapping stuff together.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
You may have to do the things that John has just said, where you have to determine what the bottom is and where you want it to snap from. But yeah, it's getting close to more functionality. So I'm excited for this because I'm very excited to get into a phase where we can start doing ship instructions inside of Deck Designer.
If I was a Facebook convertee who had come to the show today, how would I get a copy of this software?
I don't know.
Deck Designer. At the moment, you would have to still make a late pledge on our last Kickstarter. The link link of which is on seconddynasty.com.
I will post a link for you right now.
Awesome. And I'm sure Zorma will also post links to our Discord, where I know a couple of us have come from today. And also Zorima's, if you're looking at Zorima, I haven't introduced him properly because aside from just being my co-host, he's also a 3D printing guru. So he also has a support channel, which he'll post a link to, where you can get free support for your printer. He even has Patreon services if you want to buy him a coffee or a beer or something for his efforts, or you know, just support a good thing. So yeah, awesome, John. And any more? What can we expect to see? Is there a release this week, or are we waiting for next week?
Oh, there will be a release for the Itch.io channel, and there will be no release next week. So if you plan on, you could put it up if you so choose on My Mini Factory like next week, midweek, or Monday or Tuesday when you're back in, because the release today is going to be late.
That's fine. I do like to have weekends. So guys, we'll probably update the My Mini Factory stuff early next week then. And it's getting exciting. We will eventually have our entire catalog built into Deck Designer. It's a standalone program that you download onto your computer. It's not. I hate web services, if I'm being perfectly honest, because they're reliant on the web and their servers and whatnot. So we do have a component where you can download the packages via the web, I believe, right? So the libraries.
Yeah. I will be adding the program does currently talk to the internet for certain things, but for the bundles. But once it's done downloading, you can put it in a firewall and it will run just as happy as Peaches.
Question: can I get involved with the beta testing if I'm a new user?
Yeah. If you've already pledged through either the late pledge or Kickstarter, you have to email me at deckdesigner@seconddynasty.com from the email that you pledged from, because some people email me and I can't find their pledge and like, oh, I don't use that email. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are, because I look by your email you send me from.
That's a common issue too on Kickstarter and whatnot. So,
John, can you enter that email into the side so people can see it?
Fine. If I get spammed, I'm gonna blame.
You're the one using the email. That's not. I didn't come up with the method.
Yes, you're probably going to get approached by a bunch of Chinese companies wanting to manufacture things for you.
You know, I still get approached to this day from that game I released one time about, hey, let's put on a different app store. Let's add some ads to it. And like, go away.
Yep.
All right. That's pretty much all the updates I have. This update coming out this Friday is going to be minor. It just has a few changes to the brush tool, not select tool. There will be more changes to the select tool next update, not this coming Friday, but the one after that. The one, you know what I meant.
I understand, yes. In a fortnight. That's what we call fortnight.
That sounds great, John. It really does.
Thanks. I'm so happy and pleased. I'm now going to scream and shout for whatever you're going to work on over here.
Well, let's talk not about what I am going to work on now. First, let's talk about what I have worked on. Because the prototype is growing. This is the Type S Cockpit.
It's beautiful.
Thank you, John. This is, you can tell it's a prototype because there's no actual detailing on the hull yet, so I don't have hull plating. But yes, if we stick a miniature on, see, even Albin's looking, and he's seen this.
Yeah.
So we have a miniature at 28mm for scale, so you can kind of see there's actually going to be a wall here. So I guess that's slightly misleading. But the cockpit came out beautifully. I don't know if we can get the camera to focus on some of those details. It is still FDM. For the... Oh, come on, you bastard. Yeah, the camera just doesn't want to focus on these details. Let's see if we can... Look at my nail. It keeps looking at my hair. I've got to cover my hair. There we go. It kind of came into focus when I blocked my hair. Alright, yeah, there. See? You can see some great detail coming out on the paneling. We're probably going to cheat and do some SLA because this week I thought, we had kind of popped Albin's cherry with FDM printing, and with FDM printing we kind of did. But he's also been prototyping some parts from the Beowulf, just a few for the time being. But I found out that he had secretly purchased an SLA printer. So, which is good, because I'm afraid of the two that I own and have never used. So it's good to have that kind of skill set in house now. So yeah, this is all FDM. It's 0.15 millimeter layer height, so 150 microns, which is what I designed for. So you should get, I guess, on the Prusa, that's a kind of common thing. Maybe on an end you want to go down to 0.12, just to make sure you're capturing those details. And I'll show you some of the details that are not quite easy to make out without a coat of paint now. If I go back to
that reminds me, we're going to have a new profile out this weekend.
Yes. That's awesome. That is coming this weekend. Yeah, so there's just been a few things that I've been trying lately. Mostly experiments with, very hard to see, but I have these tiny little printouts where I've got the semiotic standards. I think I brought this up last week, where Traveller has its own, that's the player's handbook. They have their own semiotic standards for different parts of the ship. Now, not all of these can be used because of A, the size of them, and B, the details. They just don't quite come out. But I have done a whole section of these symbols that we've been translating into 3D that are ready for use in the ship. Like, for example, here we have the bridge symbol. So if we compare it, we've got our bridge symbol there. Astrogation normally has this 5-point grid on it. We've had to lower that to a 3-point grid to get the fidelity up. And you can kind of see that, these symbols are getting ready to be put throughout the ship, and in many cases they have been, because this week I have been working on the cockpit, and I did start working on this last week, so check out my last stream if you want to see the full details of that. But the really exciting thing, if I kill the top hull here, is you can see now into the cockpit, and we have all of this beautiful detail. Well, I say so myself, but let's just take the even the underside is quite detailed. So we've got I must have hit the animation bar there. All right, so let's turn on our miniatures so you guys can see the scale, and let's turn off the cockpit lid.
I have a quick question about what you just showed by mistake, because it looks so cool. Will those little things actually move when you put the legs down?
I don't know yet.
Oh, that would have been so cool. Okay, never mind. Shutting up. Thank you.
I don't know. It would need a pin or something if it was going to work. I would love to have fully functioning landing gear. I don't know that it's going to work out. I don't think so. And you can kind of see the flaws that we've implemented. It was a challenge to kind of detail. We're going to work some more on this today, but I want to check in with what Albin's doing first as well, and have a check on that. But yeah, like, I've really enjoyed doing all these control panels. The drink holders have made it in that we talked about last week. We've got some speakers. There's some on the back wall too. Yeah, there. And I'm still in the process of working this piece out. So the floor pieces, I've actually started printing these. I don't know if this is the complete piece. It is, right? I've started. I've realized that the edges, the rims around this, are not really wide enough to actually pick up the strips. So I'm gonna basically cut one triangle width off these. I think. But I've been printing these standing instead, because when they're standing, they really don't need supports whatsoever, and you do kind of get that nice fidelity from the X and the Y.
Yeah, you get high detail.
Yeah, so I think that makes actually a lot more sense for these kind of patterns, and not to mention the fact that because some of these floors need to be built in to the sections because of how thin the space is between the floor. There's not enough room for the clip system. You know, that's the way they're printing too, sort of standing like this. So you can kind of see what it's like at scale. Getting miniatures in there will be possible with slightly narrower bases. So we've already decided we'll be doing some bases to go along with the miniatures, so that you can, you know, glue them to something that you could actually feasibly get into most of the rooms on the ship.
That's a good idea.
And you know, we'll probably repeat these patterns as a part of bases. So yeah, that's kind of the solution. So you can see in action these awesome miniatures that I haven't gotten a hold of the Varga miniatures yet, but this is the first one by Papsicles and these two posers.
Popsicles is joining you for this campaign again, right?
Oh yes, God yes.
Okay, good.
Him and Flavored Pickle, and there could be even more in the future. And you also, some of you guys that might have been on the Discord may have seen that even our old friend Mikkel, who designed the rover last time around, is back to do the air raft. So this air raft that we have in here was just from some CAD files that Mark had. So we're kind of doing our version of an air raft, and there'll be sort of an open-aired version as is standard.
I thought that was just a joke temporary object. That's really what the goal is?
Yeah, that's what they look like. They're open air like that because they're
Yeah.
designed to be ground cars, basically. Just
Why
ground.
pink?
I
Yeah, I don't
didn't
know.
choose the color scheme.
Oh,
So this is just how it imported from the CAD program.
I
So
thought it was a little pink convertible to say there's going to be something put there. I didn't. Okay.
No, if you have a look, it's actually got no wheels. It's actually a craft cast.
Well, it's an air raft. It uses minimal.
Repulsor tech, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a, well, like you've seen it either in Star Wars, like kind of like a speeder, or in Firefly. I guess it's the same thing.
If this
Yeah,
is an
it's a-
elevator, I'm calling this ship
Firefly,
the Dream.
the open thing in Firefly when they did the bank heist and they had to go pick up the, you know, and the guy got shot through the leg with a spear,
Yeah.
and they were
And
dragged.
then they got chased by Reavers or something, right?
Yeah, but chased by Reavers. Yeah, that ground car. It's like that. That's what it is.
This ship has a lift, right?
This ship does not, but the Beowulf
Oh.
does. So
Okay, so the Beowulf can be the Dream House. Got it.
the Beowulf is a much larger ship.
Okay.
This is 25 inches in length in total, so you can kind of see that when I was holding up the model here, right? So this is approximately, well, I keep not figuring out the dimensions. So this is from, let's see, it starts here, right, on the model, and we've got to this part. So we're probably looking at more than a third of the ship at the moment. So it's not the biggest of the ships. It's actually, it feels both weighty and light at the same time somehow. That was Albin's comment as well. So it does have some weight to it. This one we will not use for the actual model that we're going to paint up. What we'll do is we'll use this as a stand-in model when we're preparing the sets for while we wait for Brian's beautiful paint job. So, yeah.
Brian's the one that's next door to you, right? Almost.
If
No.
by next door you mean Great Britain.
Who's the one that's next to you, like in the studio, like has a studio space near you?
Oh, you mean Docus? Yeah, Mikkel from Docus. Sorry, there's two Mikkels. There's Mikkel from Docus, and then there's Mikkel who does the vehicle. So they're two separate people.
Okay, thank you so much. That's gonna be about 64 centimeters.
I haven't done the metric math to be honest, but I'm sure you're quite right. Yeah, it's definitely under, under 70 centimeters at least. So yeah, and then we're gonna look at putting light kits mostly at the back so that we've got this sort of, a green and a red light on both sides. the engines, obviously, and we'll see what else we get up to. But yeah, so there is quite a lot of room in the front. Obviously, that's the other issue. I haven't got any mechanics for the finished landing gear to go in. So, what I thought we'll work on later in the session is I've imported some of the elements here. If I kill the lighting, it might be easy to see, and I take the miniatures off for memory reasons. We have this back wall as it is. It lacks details on the side, and we also don't have any controls to open up this iris door. And so I've just imported a few items from some older ships. You'll recognize them from our airlocks. I don't think we'll keep the communication thing because you have comm units in Traveller as a general, but we do need a way to open the doors on both sides of the doors. And I've also imported the semiotic standard for emergency equipment, so we'll have a fire extinguisher and a first aid kit built somewhere into this wall, and that will give us some. Right now it's quite mirrored, so that'll break it up and give us some much needed asymmetry. To answer Marakurli's comment, yes, this ship you could probably zoom around with, especially since the back heavier part we're going to have some metallic rods. So yeah, but before we get into that, let's have a look at the Beowulf. So I'm just going to, hopefully this shows Discord, and look, we're actually on our other screen at the moment.
We're alive.
Yes.
Alive. I mean,
So, Alban, what are we looking at?
what the hell is going on? You might ask yourself. Well, this is supposed to become the med bay of the Beowulf. It's on the first deck, you could say, perhaps. It's called Deck C in the plannings, I think.
The lower deck.
Lower deck, yeah. So it's kind of in the front of the ship. I'm going to just show a bit of a proxy of the hull here.
It's a mess, isn't it?
It's a bit of a mess. So we are at this section of the ship, but in the lower decks. Sorry, over here somewhere. And basically I've been trying to make it work with the different bulkheads and integrating clip holes and stuff like that. So I might want to show you that as well. So the idea here is that you're basically going to take this part and you're going to print it. There's so much shit here.
There is, but there's a couple of experiments going on.
Yeah.
Maybe if I could add some commentary to Alban's comments. What we're looking to achieve here is to take out, just like I've done on the Type S, we take out a section of the ship to begin on, to sort of prototype and get it up to snuff.
Yeah.
And this ship is a little bit more complicated in some ways. I mean, the Type S is complicated in others, in that the issue is the restriction of space, but the Beowulf has its own issues. As you can see here from the curve area, if you can just angle that just to, so that we can kind of see it a little bit better. Yeah.
So basically, one of the issues here is that you lose a bit of floor paneling because of the curvature of the ship. What we have done basically is giving the ship a kind of a D profile to extend and flatten out the bottom layer.
So if you think of a capital D and turn it 90 degrees, so that the top part is here and then the D is underneath. That's kind of like, or rather the opposite way. We're flattening out the bottom of the ship.
Yeah.
Is what I meant to say. And this is all stuff we've run by Mark. It's just going to take us a while to implement it.
He means Mark Miller, the original creator.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. So basically, this is also, of course, Alban. He's just a young'un. He hasn't worked with 3D printing so long. So this is also about. It's kind of like a test. So not a test per se, but an experiment, so that Alban can learn some of the strengths and weaknesses of working with print orientation. So for example, we actually printed out the staircase and the wall. Where did they go?
They are right here. So
Yeah, but they can't see you over there.
I'm going to come over to you guys.
Okay, hang on a second. I need to go to this one then.
Ah, ooh,
Right.
what's up? Okay, so is it
That camera.
That camera. All the cameras. So what we have here, it's kind of shaky, I guess. But this is supposed to be the staircase going up to the crew quarters, I think it is, or like a common area in the B deck. And what I've done here is like I have a separate separate staircase here that is orientation, just a primitive shape in this moment. But what I've been trying to do here is like giving slots, railings for doors, so you can what you call it, compartmentalize. Words in English. I should know them. I don't. You can work in sections basically. So the door should be separate, so you can slot it in. We might change this to give it more stability to actually incorporate it into the staircase. But I've also been trying a few things with the floor tilings. I'm just gonna put my fat fingers here a little bit. Okay.
Now you know what it's like for me.
Yeah. Okay, so this
Well, we
looks
can,
like
can
a...
also see them on the screen a
Yeah.
little bit, so we can just...
Just speak your native language. We all understand it here. We're all
Hej,
multilingual.
ja, vi tar det på svenska!
Okej, men det här är ingen fara. Alltså, det är precis, det är som en slags Lego-set nästan, kan man säga. Okej.
Alright,
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
There
Alright,
you
You
go.
switch to the small cam. Okay.
So the idea is that there are little knobs here,
Oh, yeah.
things, and that's not a good word, is it? Oh, fucking hell. Sorry, guys.
It is. It's not a bad word, but it definitely means
Does
cock.
peg works better? That's not...
Pegs, yes.
Yeah.
Pegs.
Let's
are
go with that.
Much better, yeah.
Yeah. So there are tiny pegs here, and I'm separated the normal open lock tiles and
With
given
the
them...
top of them, rather, with the
Yeah.
floor pieces.
Exactly, so it's kind of difficult to see.
Yeah.
This is the top, and then you have like a corresponding pattern on the bottom. So they are supposed to just lay on top of these pegs and they kind of remain in place. Because the
Can
thing
we
is
glue them if we want to?
So you went for a different design than Ben did with the ship as far as the floor panels. You went
No,
with a totally.
this is an experiment.
Yeah.
This is all about letting Alban experiment and see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm
Oh,
going to use
okay,
this
I
in
get
the
it.
ship at all, but I
Alright.
want him to test and see what he can find for a solution by himself, because part of the process of learning to do this is where you acquire the skills you need to sort of problem solve, essentially.
So I mean, we are basically going to like
Refine
probably-
it. We're going to refine this design until we're happy
All right,
with
I think it's a better answer. It's just that it wasn't fitting the what do you call it? Deck designer? Not the deck designer.
open lock system. Yeah.
no.
Open lock.
Exactly.
That's what I was thinking.
So the reason why I'm trying this is because at some places at the Beowulf, it's going to be very narrow space when it comes to the floor tilings. So we might not be able to fit a full open lock clip until it hits the bottom of
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rack brings something up to keep into mind when you guys are doing the ships, that these ships would also have to function in 0G. So you're going to need railings and handholds somewhere on the doors or whatever for people that are in 0G trying to open and move through the ship. Just to keep in mind, because in Traveler, it's quite common for there to be no gravity in the ships occasionally.
That's kind of interesting. I mean, because I started to think, I watched these International Space Station clips about how they sleep in the International Space Station and use the loo and stuff like that. And basically, okay, that's not really relevant here, but basically the sleeping part is kind of interesting because basically you put yourself into a sleeping bag, vertical, and everyone who is a sci-fi fan, I guess, already knows this. I was not aware of it until recently.
Every time a ship jumps in Traveler, it's in jump for 1 week, and it comes out. No, No matter how far it goes, it always takes 1 week.
Ah.
Once it's out of jump, it has to travel from the outside of the system to the inside of the system, wherever the planet is it's going to.
Ah.
When it uses its thrust to do so, it's constant G of, well, in your
Okay.
ship is 2G, right? But when its ship flips over in the mid part of the ship run, it has a period of a few hours or whatever that's 0G. That's common.
Okay.
And the traveler ships also have a safety protocol or security protocol where they'll shut off gravity to basically prevent boarding. So it's quite
Oh.
common for characters to have 0G ability to avoid, well, flying around and bouncing off the walls.
That's
So you
cool.
might want to consider in the design to include not constant, like having to live in an environment like a 0G toilet, but maybe just handholds and things like that to pull yourself through.
Alright.
Knowing me, I would get explosive
Yeah,
problems
sure.
during the 0G section.
So I wasn't trying to say we don't do this anymore. What I'm saying is we'll go back to working on Maya itself.
Yep.
So the time when we put in the handholds and things is kind of like once we figure out where things are going.
Yep.
And one of the reasons why we've discussed having this modular floor that you can replace it with is so that you could potentially change the layout of your med bay because it is quite restrictive. We have redesigned this from the main floor plan just to make it work, and we have these temporary items in, from our. I mean, we'll probably reuse some elements of our existing designs to save on time.
Yeah.
So the cool part of this system that you're showing us is that it allows you to fit in a very small, thin area customizability.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
That's so cool.
That's the idea, but I worry that the floors might be too thin for
Yeah.
some of the details after the experiments we were doing this morning. If I show off Bruce's, let's see, can I just? Oh yeah, there was a couple of fixes that I did this morning, so you guys on the Discord will be happy to know they should already be implemented. Let's see if I go back. Here we go. So here's just the floor by itself, turned on its side, and when we do this. We actually get these holes in the side. So if we're printing out like this and it's separate, the other thing too is we won't be able to get the. Actually, this might not be an issue because we'll be printing it out flat, but we won't get the same detail. The point is, it's complicated, it's a process. To those guys that were having the whole stairs discussion on the Discord. I mean, we quite possibly can do a version of this where we just have a ladder well instead or something like that that's in the same place. But the reason we move things around is because... Can we just look at the deck plans really briefly?
Yeah, sure.
For deck C and maybe B afterwards. So, if we look at deck C, you can see what the layout looks like originally. Let's zoom in just a tad more. So you have... Aside from the central ramp, which Mark Miller has said, let's move that back 2 inches so we've got enough overhead room, which means we also have to move the turret back. The clinic here, these stairs are actually straight in from the door on the right, but the curvature of the ship is a real issue here. You can see there that there's this medical bed there. Here, I can point to things as well as you.
Oh, sorry, man.
We have these cryo sleep chambers for low berths, I guess they're called in Traveller. I need to check with Mark if we're really supposed to have 2 in each of them because as you saw from the geometry, and you'll see in a little bit, they're very, very tight. But basically, we realized early on that we're not going to get the flat. This ship would have to be completely flat to get this deck layout right. Yeah. And then that means you've got an issue with the ramp because the ramp needs to clear a container that's 2 by 2 inches. Each square is an inch, representing 1.5 meters or 5 feet. These containers are 4.5 by 3 by 3 meters, right? So the ship doesn't have enough clearance off the ground to fit that. So we need still to have this curving upwards gradually so that there's enough clearance in here. It's a bit of an interesting thing to solve. So what we've done with our design is we've moved the stairs all the way over here, and the reason why is, can we just look at deck B briefly? This is nice, being able to direct someone live.
Also,
Wow. There we go. There's B. Alright, so B, actually, the stairs lead up to this really, really unnecessary corridor. No offense, Mark, if you're watching. But for us, it makes more sense. We thought, well, okay, if we just move the crew quarters down 1 inch and move the stairs to here, because we're already, like, the stairs are going to take up a lot of prime real estate in your ship. So if we move the crew quarters down so we can actually take advantage of that wall, move the stairs 1 inch to the right so we can actually do something, I'll come back to that about the doors. But basically this would open up, the stairs would lead to the crew commons. The crew quarters here would just be accessible from this side instead, essentially. And
You get rid of the hallway effect.
yeah, essentially we just move the hallway, and
It's basically the Firefly effect.
the what effect?
Firefly. That's how the rooms are in Firefly, where they have the rooms lower, like the main cabin rooms. They got a hallway going like kind of over them through the middle.
Yeah, well, it's not quite like this because we're on the deck above right now. So if we go back to the 3D model and look at the med bay as it is, let's see if we can. He's got to turn off all the unrelevant layers. So what we've done is this staircase was here before, right? And that creates. Yeah.
Distract you slightly. There was a question out here that's been asked a couple times. They're talking about scale. I answered in text, but they're asking about 15 millimeter miniatures because that's one of the scales in Traveler for some of the editions.
This is 28 millimeters as a base, but you can scale it down on your printers to 15. That's
and we'll make that available, of course.
The open lock clip system works at that scale at least. I would recommend if you're going to scale down to 15, maybe then you're looking at a resin print instead. But we're primarily designing this for SLA. We might do a few of the finer pieces FDM is what we're primarily designing for. But we might do some pieces that are on SLA just to show off the design when we actually do our print. But yeah, so we moved the stairs to the other side and the airlock to here. Because obviously one of the major issues we were thinking of is if if your cargo bay is depressurized, you don't actually have a way to easily get to your med bay, because the corridor behind here is also an issue. So by actually moving the access door so that it actually med bay fits onto the stairwell here, you've got that sharing the pressurization of the crew section, which makes a little bit more sense, I feel. And so we've moved the bed here where we actually have a bit more room, and then the actual low berths we're going to scatter around. We can turn those back on, so you can kind of see the amount of room that's in there. It is very cramped, as it is. I would prefer if it was just 5 instead of 10 in there, but we'll see what Mark says. The tonnage for them is confusing to me. But
they're like 1 ton each. 1 ton each. They should be 1 ton cubes each, right?
Well, according to him, 2 cubes is 0.5 tons. So
right. Okay, so yeah, 2 individual units equals 1 ton. Okay.
Yeah, it would, except in this case we would be looking at 5 tons worth, but the space is not that much. So that's one of the aspects we're confused about. And this is something that I think we'll ask Mark to give us a bit of feedback with. We might make a shorter film to ask him the questions in the future, because I think it helps with the visual aids. But yeah, this is where Albin is this week.
Yeah.
So we're going to leave this Beowulf for now. I'm sure people might have some questions. We can still ask the questions, and you're going to continue to work in the background, Albin.
Absolutely.
We'll see if we can get something on the printer for this weekend. We'll while we're away from work. But I'm going to go in the meantime back to the Scout, and we're going to start at least installing this control panel and talking about where we're going to fit our semi-automatic standard and our fire extinguisher and first aid kit. I'm also going to put a first aid kit in the fresher, because this is a fresher, so it'll, toilet shower sort of area.
Explosion room. Got it.
Taco Tuesday first aid.
In any case, most people will find a first aid kit in a bathroom, right? So that's where they keep them. So it seems logical to have a couple, actually, because you can't guarantee you're in a section of the ship that's not depressurized, right, outside in the corridor. So we will probably add, to answer Zorima's question about the handholds and that, I agree with the handholds, that they should be there, but what I'm going to do, because the Traveller art that we're basing this off doesn't have handholds, is we'll probably just do a stretch goal version where the handholds are built in. So we basically cover everyone's bases. That would be the ultimate thing.
No one said the art's right, though.
Sorry?
No one said the art is correct.
No, but I want to respect the material as much as possible.
Those doors are pretty cool.
I understand.
Yeah, Mark explained how these work, and there is enough room in the ship for them to work, so we've kept... It's basically just there's more going on behind the wall, essentially.
Those are pretty cool. I actually like the tabby things on the sliding doors.
Yes.
Are those going to be usable?
Like that. Yeah, they are.
That is so cool.
They're pretty simple, actually, to implement, but yeah. So
I like that.
A little space behind the wall for them to go, and we've rearranged them in such a way that the walls work out. And Mark has been very supportive in that sense, saying, he understands that there's some practical limitations we have.
Can both those? I'm sorry, bugging you on this, but I just want to make sure I understand. Can both those doors be open at the same time? The one that goes into the wall and that one goes into the same wall?
Yes.
Okay, that is so cool. Thank you.
Yes, they can. All right. Yeah. So I don't know. Okay, the art I've based this on is from this ship. This is not actually a Type S. We do have this reference folder, and there is a couple of images we can use to look at what the interior might look like from old Traveller art. But there's no standardized, like, this is how it looks. Maybe we're establishing a standard. That would be ultra cool. This thing, I believe, just from the shape of the windows, was probably some form of Type S in the early days, and this is what I've based the cockpit on. For the most part. So I've tried to go back and respect what's gone before. This image that I was showing is just a colorized version of this black and white one. The reason why I've gone with the colorized version that someone's probably done online is it actually helps figure out what we're looking at by breaking it up. And it's not like I can't just stare at a black and white picture, but this helps figure out the depth quicker and whatnot. So there are a lot of cool ideas. What I'm wondering is, speaking of the zero-G thing, if these ribs are supposed to be like soft, kind of like the padding sort of thing, in case there's high acceleration or whatnot. I mean, it doesn't protect everywhere though, but in any case, it breaks up this otherwise boring wall. So yeah, I know Mark said to keep it simple, but I can't help myself. We'll have some versions that are simpler like this, and then we'll probably have some versions that are more practical. But of course, the more, I guess maybe the handhold things, like there is some references in here of the holes. Let's see. Where they have these sort of frames, you could technically use the door frames to propel yourself around in zero-G fairly well. But yeah, like that's where the inspiration is coming from. I'm going to fix these later too, so we'll see. The first thing I want to do though is just add in this control panel. So let's get to work. Alright, so we already have the height kind of figured out. So what I'm going to do is cut this section out and essentially shift it over. So the first thing we're going to do is do the cut. And now is a great time if you guys have questions that either John or Zorma could read out.
Did Zorma lead the score? Or?
Oh, well, there you go, Zorma. Well, that's Zorma's job. So, if we have any questions, now's a good time to talk while I'm working, because I can usually answer. Let's see, detach. So I'm just going to grab these, and hopefully these should move. Yeah. So we're just going to move the pivot point, and I'm going to turn it off a grid and switch it back to vertex based, so we can get this to the very edge. And then this line right here, just between, say, here and there. Well, that did not work out. Right, let's move this back, and then what I'm trying to do is to move these edges. And then this, just a tad to the side, so we've got a bit more room to move these vertexes over. Alright, just making sure I haven't taken any hidden vertexes on the backside. And there we go. So this is at the same height as it normally is on the on our existing ships, which I think is pretty good. One could argue that we only really need one button and maybe not a keycard reader or something there. But let's go with this for now. It brings some familiar. It's like my touch added to the ship, so it's still, you know, it becomes a hybrid of like Second Dynasty and Far Future Enterprises. Let's see. So I'm actually going to cut these out, and then we're going to combine this. Deleting history. Oh shit, that's added everything in. Let's go back. Actually, save, Ben, save. It's been a while. And that's just disappeared because that is what I suspected was going to happen. That is why I said save. Fatal error. This version of Maya had finally revealed itself on a stream. I'm going to get up a second copy of Maya. We can thankfully look and see what Albin is doing in the background.
Yeah.
well, I press OK to this crash. We don't want to send a report today, and Maya's already loading up, so it should pop up when we can. So we can just enjoy watching this.
I would like to send an error report, please. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome to do so, John. Let's see. Scout Courier Design Explorations. This new machine, though, at least it loads it very quickly. There we go. And you can see it's gone green, which means it's lost a lot of the information. So we're just going to have to deal with this now. I'm just going to put Lambert 1 on, which is the default shader in Maya. We're going to isolate this again, and I guess the other objects, we can do this. Go Shift I and mesh separate, and now they're no longer included. So Maya doesn't need to shite itself. Let's see. So we're just going to create some brick. Oh, what is wrong now? Do we have polygons on the back of this or something? Can be a little hard to see. And no, what's going on here? That should have bridged. Oh, had the front one selected instead of the back one. My bad, guys.
We forgive you because we love you.
Oh.
That's very nice, John.
Shut up, Albin.
I'm afraid I've created a monster. And it's Albin, he's obviously terrible.
Yeah.
I feel so bad about
It's okay.
this, but I did warn him.
Yeah.
It was gonna happen.
It is true.
Also, Albin's got such terrible English, doesn't he? We can't understand a word he says.
Nah. Especially when I speak English and Swedish.
How does that work?
I don't know. I don't think it works. That's the problem.
Swinglish. I think you're perfectly intelligible,
Thank you.
but I can't speak for our friends online. So
No.
vote 1 if you hate Albin's accent. No, I'm kidding. We need to keep his morale up, right? Because this is a long project.
Wasn't it called? It was called The Governess. It was a book you read in high school,
Mhm.
where they all treat her poorly so they can keep her wages really low.
I don't think we read that one.
I recommend it. It's very good education for how to keep costs down. You're welcome.
Sweet.
John is a true capitalist.
Oh yeah.
Actually, that's not true. He's way too cheap.
I love you.
Oh no. He's expecting another currency. Alright. Let's see. So this is going to leave a bit of an awkward space here. So the question is if we should shape this around. I'm thinking maybe. So let's get creative. Let's delete this. And let's get this, and what do we want to do? Maybe first we want to move it down to say like where it's going to be. So is that in line with it? Let's move this out. Now it needs to be slightly lower, so we're going to make it match there. We'll probably bring it back a tad so that looks a little bit more squared off maybe.
Does it? I don't know. Does the air raft operate in space?
I don't. Zorima's probably a resident, knowledgeable person about airrafts. So, does it operate in space? I don't think it does. Because otherwise, why would they stick engines at all on their ships when they've got this grav tech, right? They would be able to otherwise fly it like a UFO. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zorima.
I don't think he's online though.
Oh, is he off?
I'm not sure, but I don't.
He's currently not in the. He's not spectating the call,
That's odd.
and he's not in the grid either.
Alright, so we're gonna have to rely on John to read the questions.
Oh, according to the gruffiest man on Earth, it says it needs some gravity, and according to Jace Lettier, it uses planetary gravity to work. I'm very good at this.
Yeah.
Awesome. It looks like we've finally got a couple of traveler enthusiasts to take a look at the streams, which is nice to see. I had this awesome idea. Well, I don't know how awesome it is, but I think some people get a kick out of it. One of my old mates is one of the old school traveler people that have been playing it since the late 70s, right? Or whenever it came out. And I thought it would be nice to surprise him with, like, when we're doing the crew for the ship, to, like, hey, what's your favorite player character that you played from all your years of Traveller? So he told me about this character, and I was going to say, right, well, we're going to make a miniature of that character. And then I was like, I wonder if we could attract interest in the project by having a competition for people to submit their Traveller characters, and we somehow pick out the winners and we'll include those characters as miniatures. What do you guys think of that idea?
I think it's a swelltastic idea, mister.
Well, I wasn't expecting you to rock the boat there, John, but you're a bit of a sycophant if we're being honest. No, I'd love to hear from the chat to see. Are you suggesting like a stretch level or something? That could be something that's interesting as a stretch goal per se, yeah. but I think maybe a mix of both could be an idea. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe this should have gone the whole way up. Now that I think about it, yeah. Well, let's delete these bits for now, and then we'll just bring these edges up. See, I could literally be sitting here for the rest of my work day because this is basically all we do all day: play with spaceships. Which is
You gotta say it right.
It's such a nice job.
It's awesome.
Could you say the word correctly though? Because you gotta say it the way you're supposed to say it.
Sorry, John. Can you please tell everyone how we're supposed to say it?
Spaceships.
Spaceships. I don't know if we're legally allowed to make those kinds of sounds. It seems like it's a little bit like the R word we're not allowed to use anymore. I've been told by young people we can't use the R word anymore.
The R word?
Never
Rolodex.
Yeah, that's a good point, I guess.
You could not make Tropic Thunder today.
That's fucking... Yeah, that's a weird movie.
Is it?
If it
Or
is
it
on stream, you need to set your language to 18 plus because you haven't set it to general audiences right now.
Oh, am I gonna get through? Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I was not up to snuff on your streaming expectations there, John. Really? I thought I set my channel to 18 plus.
You did?
I don't know.
Oh, it's not listed as 18 plus.
I have no idea how these things work, John. I'm an old man.
We love you.
Thank you. Oh wait. Oh damn! I should have said I know. All right. Yep. That looks better. Except we want to. Does it look better?
What are tunes? We have tunes that have been playing since '79. What does that mean?
Oh, I think they are referring to the Traveller campaign.
Oh, okay.
So we're back on the subject of the miniatures. Characters,
Gotcha.
cartoon.
Gruffalo, that's a good explanation. Thank you.
Do you mean... Okay, I still wouldn't have associated characters with cartoons. Like, I understand that toons is cartoons, but in reference to what? I mean, we know about cartoons, we're animators. I know enough about them to know that I don't want to make them. It's not true. I just found this, which is more fun. And also, it pays a hell of a lot more. Because animators don't get paid anything.
Well, technically, for brief moments of time, very briefly, you are a millionaire, but not in USD.
No, not yet. Not yet. Well, I mean,
Oh,
in some currency, but...
Well, wasn't it in Swedish, the crown thingy?
No, we only got up to almost 700,000 crowns.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. And there's also
Thank you for
taxes and all other
reminding me
stuff.
of my failures. No, but, like, I mean, these are quite niche ships, but it is exciting to see every time that... Whoa.
Whoa.
I'm guessing Zarma back, and now it's
Zermer is back, and we got beautiful echo.
Oh,
Mute
you
yourself.
should like sing a cappella or something.
Alright. No, it's still on. Damn it. So, can I mute him? No, okay.
She can, but I think he muted himself.
Alright.
I'm guessing something exploded on his computer.
Yeah, I'm guessing that might be the reason why he vanished from the stream. But hopefully you're back in the chat at least, Sarama. Where are we? So, okay, we've got this control panel installed. And hey, look at that,
Attention.
it's already bloody 4 o'clock. Okay, it goes so quick.
Yeah, that's why I was about to tell
thought
you.
I made my stream 18 plus because I'm Australian and I went to Catholic school, so I swear like a sailor.
Oh shit, he lost power.
Oh, he's not in Texas,
Oh.
is he?
We're not in Texas anymore.
Lots of areas have lost power in the U.S.
Oh, really?
What?
That's
What?
odd.
Yeah.
Something special going on?
Hopefully
No.
nothing too bad.
It's just part of America.
Ah, I see.
Alright. Okay. Well, I'm sure you guys will figure it out. Alright, so I just am going to turn some shadows on. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, the control panel is nice and integrated now. I'm going to continue doing some more parts in the future. What am I saying? I'm working today, but you have to... we really should talk about moving the stream to like Wednesday when I'm not brain fried during the workday. Anyway, guys, what I was trying to say is hopefully you've gotten a little bit of an insight into our progress. It's getting exciting seeing some physical products coming out. The Beowulf is at least moving forward with some testing. Yeah, we're working hard to bring these ships to you guys this summer. Well, this summer in the Northern Hemisphere, I should say. So June, July sometime we expect we'll be able to launch a crowdfunding campaign. I was thinking it would be a Kickstarter, but I don't know, MMF's got its own system now that's looking quite interesting. We'll have to see. I want to at least talk to them about that because, yeah, we'll see. Anyway, John, anything you want to add before the end of things here?
I'm excited for the continued things. I'm looking forward to the deck designer continuing to be built, and I love you.
Aw.
Oh, John, I know.
Thanks, and we love you too.
I even like Albin. I
Aw.
think I'm getting Stockholm syndrome.
We are far from Stockholm. Don't compare us to that rabble. Alright, guys. We're going to wrap things up for today before I say something I truly regret having on the internet. Thanks, John, for joining us. Thanks, Zorma. Sorry about your woes. We normally do post some links to our social media and that, but if you guys just want to go to... we actually have it all on seconddynasty.com. So if you follow that link and just go into the About Us, I think we have our social links under there somewhere. So you can get on our Discord. We have some Facebook groups as well. I have an Instagram that I post to about once a week. But yeah, we're trying to get better at this. We'd really like to get the word out by the time we're ready to launch this thing so we can make a big impact, and the success of this campaign will affect how many traveler ships we'll actually be able to produce. So I hope it will be our most successful campaign, but we also need to, we'll also take that opportunity during that campaign to see what kind of traveler ships you guys are actually looking for. They still will have to be small enough to be practical. We also are going to look into tactical miniatures for ships as well. So it'll be the 28mm scale full ships, which you'll be able to scale down to 15 if you want. It will be some miniatures like for characters and whatnot, and there will be some ship miniatures as well, in some kind of constellation there. And then we're looking at 1 to 2 campaigns a year is usually our tempo. We'll see what it is, or yeah, we'll see how it goes. So yeah, this has been the last survivor. No, I'm signing off though. I am signing off. Thanks, John. Thanks, Alvin. Thanks, Oromar. Bye, guys. We'll see you next Friday.
Take care.